Hello, Dr. Frame.
How's it going, everybody? I'm back in the frickin' building again here. So, yes, welcome to yet another instance of me taking a look at a complete and utter moron that has no idea what definitions are. And this is quite the display of stupidity that I have basically been gifted, shall I say. Now, of course, I can't take all of the credit here for even knowing about this individual's existence. In fact, it's about 3 people that basically kind of helped me to even be aware of this guy, and of course, 2 of those 3 individuals did quite a bit of the legwork for me in terms of a lot of this information here. So, of course, let's actually kind of shout those people out. First of all, Game Penguin for even letting me know about this person's existence, mainly through, well, the next 2 people that I'm about to be bringing up here, which is, of course, none other than Hannibal Nectar and Grebs, who have made a fantastic video deconstructing the video that we're about to be taking a look at here. And, of course, they've done a little bit of the legwork for me, and, of course, I'm going to be showing off some of the stuff that they've given me in terms of extra information, because, well, I've already done that on stream, why not do it in a video, because I think that that's extremely funny. But, of course, let's actually have some fun, shall we? This is an individual that goes by the name of Moomin on YouTube, who apparently, at least from my own recollections as well as from some other people, apparently had his own schism with somebody that went by the name of Harley TBS, which, I don't know, you may or may not even know that they exist. I mean, they only have, like, more subscribers than me? Who cares? But apparently they have a little bit of a storied history with, well, being a bit of a moron, shall we say, and not being able to take accountability for being a fucking moron. And of course this seems to be another instance of them, well, again, being a fucking moron and being unable to take accountability for being a fucking moron. Now, of course, with this video, we're going to be skipping over, like, the first, 8 or so minutes, because, let's be honest here, the first 8 or so minutes doesn't really concern me all that much. It's mainly a response to somebody else who I have absolutely no knowledge of, and I genuinely don't care. I'm more concerned about the latter portion of this particular video, in which he basically starts trying to get into definitions and completely fails and flip-flops on every single fucking point.
This point is stupid. In the one out of context screenshot you show of my Twitter, it was a playful argument between me and one of my close friends. I'm not able to find it on the exact date because I'm not sure what happened to his reply. And at the time when I deleted the tweet, I didn't know of this video's existence coming to light in any way. That's the context as to why that screenshot even exists in the first place. We were having a playful Twitter argument and we were just shit talking, so that was the
Oh boy. By the way, prepare for this excuse quite a bit whenever it comes to some of the later screenshots here of, oh, it's just shit talking, oh, it's just memes and jokes, because apparently this man likes to use the same exact arguments that Redditors and 4chaners like to use whenever they're called out for being completely hateful douchebags. The, it's just a joke defense, you know, ye old Schrodinger's douchebag, if you will. It's only a joke when people aren't actually agreeing with you, and therefore it's suddenly, oh, it's just edgy humor, liberals, lighten up. My fucking god. But of course, on top of that too, I just find it funny that he quite literally admits that he just has no actual evidence to back himself up right here, like he completely deleted even the tweet in question, which I also find even more hilarious because, well, why would you delete the tweet? Why would you delete the tweet? If you supposedly stand by this and don't find anything wrong with it, why would you delete it?
Context to that specific screenshot. The rest is just stupid. They're mad that I give people other freedom and comfortability to say which words they want to say, regardless if the public finds them offensive or not. I'm sorry, but thinking slurs immediately equals that somebody is bigoted is a stupid concept, and that belief alone and in itself is a bigoted belief to have. A white man can say the hard R, but that doesn't immediately make him racist. It matters the point you're trying to get across.
Oh wow, I'm sure that this particular quote won't bite him in the fucking ass at any point in the near future. By the way, that's called subtle foreshadowing. It completely will, and it'll basically be the one thing that deconstructs every single part of his fucking argument here.
It's nice that I at least have a parallel to this situation. Let me give you a clip that proves furthermore that I am not a bigot, because people who love spreading around this narrative, whether it was past or present now, are all equally stupid.
Bigotry is relatively large in the comic community, specific towards trans and LGBTQ+ people. Racism is not really too well known. It's much more acceptable to be openly bigoted towards trans and gay people. It's easier for small commentators to attack trans people and gay people for the fact that they're gay or trans. This usually comes in the way of using specific slurs to harm these people because the slurs have a history of being used towards trans and gay people.
Listen, I know you're this much of a fucking idiot, but bigoted isn't when somebody's using slurs. Like, holy shit, I get that you're this fucking stupid, but slurs don't immediately equal bigoted.
Let's actually, Let's actually look up some definitions here. Let's see here. The definition of bigot: a person who is obstinately or unreasonably attached to a belief, opinion, or faction, especially one who is prejudiced against or antagonistic towards a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular group. Now, of course, one thing I'm going to spoil here is that he mainly focuses particularly on that, well, first little bit right there, and then completely disregards the rest of the definition in order to try and make his point. You'll notice that this is going to be a common thing whenever he pulls up any kind of definition whatsoever. He'll only read out the part that may potentially even help out his point, and then he disregards the rest of it in hopes that people just don't know how to fucking read. And also hopes that if they do know how to read, they just don't have the wherewithal to actually come to their own fucking conclusions based off of shit that literally debunks the argument that's being set out to them. Let's go back to that previous argument of intent, or the message behind the usage of certain words and whatnot. What exactly would be the intent of calling someone the F slur for seemingly no reason within the title or thumbnail? What would be the intent behind saying that somebody who identifies as a girl is actually not a girl? Strange. Strange, isn't it? I love how you completely ignore some of this stuff.
Lowen made the same point, but at least you can see where he's coming from. At least you can actually see his point. You just make the point look completely awful. Bigoted means an unreasonable attachment to a certain belief. It's not immediately fact equals bigoted.
By the way, in case you didn't believe me earlier, there's your answer right there. There's your context behind what I said earlier about him just taking the first sentence of a particular definition and then just running with it and hoping that people don't know how to look up anything or read for themselves. Anyways, we're going to be skipping over like the next, like, I don't know, minute or two, because he just plays out an entirely overly long segment that honestly didn't even need to be there in the first place. Whether that was part of the original video that he's showing off here or not, I personally don't really care, but I find it to be lazy and terrible editing either way.
So isn't this an entire coincidence? Someone managed to fall into the same loophole somebody else did 2 years later, including making the exact same points as them?
You know, I'm wondering if somebody like me back then also came across that particular video and also probably picked it apart in a very, very fucking similar way. Then I guess that would mean that history would ultimately repeat itself and you would still look like a fucking moron all the same.
Which I will show in this specific clip.
Why is this a problem? Saying a slur is problematic. You are actively participating in bigotry and discrimination against these people when you say a slur. It's not just some word. It has history. It has been used to insult people and class them as different. Just because you had a few bad experiences with queer or autistic people doesn't give you the right to label every one of them the same. That's called stereotyping.
Please shut the fuck up.
Brilliant fucking gambit, my good sir. Absolutely amazing fucking argument right there.
Oh my gosh. I didn't stereotype anybody who's autistic, and you should know that. And I'm pretty sure there are no witnesses to corroborate this video. And two, every word has history, bro. Just because one has something harsh to it doesn't mean that specific word is off limits. I don't care. I am not going to restrict my speech for anyone for anything. Fuck you. And let me entertain this person's fantasy land since we're restricting words now. If you are a white person saying casually, bro, and I get in my feelings and I think you're some sort of racist for it, I myself am racist.
Yeah, none of what you just said makes any kind of goddamn sense right here to anybody with, well, any amount of brain power. What the fuck are you even talking about? I'm actually genuinely confused. How is calling somebody out for using a slur apparently racist?
I'm restricting your freedom of speech based off your race, and that is not okay. The same situation applies here. Why should I ask if somebody is gay or queer if they say the F slur? Or whatever kind of category you want to put these words into, since we're doing woke logic now?
Unironically using the word woke, we're really going to start playing fucking moron bingo, aren't we? I already know to not take you seriously, and the fact that you unironically use the word woke right there automatically lets me know that I should take you even less seriously than I was already going to take you.
You are demented, delusional, and you would point to anything else other than you taking accountability for being a delusional hypocrite.
Something, stones and glass houses.
Alright, so I'm not gonna go through the rest of these screenshots with like no particular order, so I'm just going to go through some of them and add additional context as to why I said the things that I said, starting with this one. So this screenshot that they flashed on their screen with little to no context, along with many other screenshots hoping that people genuinely just don't read and only see the most egregious and aggravating parts of it, rather than reading it in its full context. But I'll read it for you, it's right there. I think I said people who identify guys asexual or incels one time, and that shit pissed people the fuck off. It's the fact I genuinely believe it too. Now, I have a sensible reason as for why I genuinely believe this.
Oh boy, please do explain how asexuality also means being an incel. I really cannot fucking wait to see what your fucking definition is.
Reason being that the definition literally clarifies you for itself. I mean, all you have to do is just search it up and it's there.
Very rich for you to even say this, but you know what, let's entertain this. Okay, so, for those of you who somehow don't know, incel is a portmanteau of the words involuntary celibate, which basically means, well, it's basically just a 4chan/Redditor term of idiots that apparently like to, claim that they aren't going after women because they're just assigned to be celibate. But in reality, it's mainly because they still, want to goon to, whatever gender it is that they're actually attracted to, and they still want to try and go after said individuals, but of course whenever they get rejected, they blame the entirety of their problems on said individual rather than themselves. Now, of course, the key word there is that they are still attracted to certain individuals. It's not exactly as involuntary as you would think, they just call it involuntary in order to try and push off any kind of blame that could possibly be put onto them, because they're fucking morons and they can't take any criticism, much like this moron right here. Now, of course, let's read out the definition of asexual that he shows off right here. Asexual, a term used to describe someone who does not experience a sexual attraction towards individuals of any gender. Okay, let's pause right here. That is the one thing that he's highlighted right here that he wants to call attention to, and it already debunks his stupid fucking point. But let's read the rest of this, shall we? Asexuality is a sexual orientation and is different from celibacy, in that celibacy is the choice to refrain from engaging in sexual behaviors and does not comment on one's sexual attractions. Oh my fucking god. Does that mean that being asexual isn't being an incel? Because of the definition of both of these fucking terms being completely contradictory to one another? Oh my god! Does that mean that this motherfucker just straight up doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about? Wow! Interesting!
Literally says it's a term used to describe somebody who does not experience sexual attraction toward individuals of any gender. Whatever that means.
Oh wow, what a fantastic fucking argument right there after reading the literal fucking definition, or at least the first sentence as you usually do, in order to ignore the rest of the context that could literally debunk your entire fucking argument in hopes that people just don't know how to read, as I'd already mentioned earlier, and I'm not going to repeat myself because that's a fucking mouthful. But on top of that, I feel like I just need to call attention to, again, amazing gambit right there. It's not like it's been pulled off by several other fucking morons that just have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. You just saying whatever that means just shows your own level of ignorance, whether that is, of course, in the form of you just joking and actually knowing exactly what those words mean, or you actually just straight up being that fucking dumb.
But they literally tell you themselves, so I'm not really lying about anything. I literally just took the definition for what it was, and
yeah, actually you are. You're lying by omission, my good buddy, and you're not even fucking good at it.
Came to my own interpretations. As for this part right here, they seriously think people are stupid. The screenshot they so desperately want you to read has the full context within that same message. So nothing is really wrong here. They want you to read the part where I say I don't like or support any of the LGBTQ's lifestyle, but don't want you to read the part where I recognize that people who have a different sexual preference from me have a heart and soul and are human just like me, but I say in this message that they degrade their value in life in terms of natural reproduction by 100%. And
okay, so I feel like I don't even have to explain why this is incredibly stupid, because here's the thing, just because you state, oh, well, I mean, I recognize that they have hearts and souls like the rest of us, doesn't exactly exonerate the fact that you literally devalue them as human beings within the next fucking breath. Like, you're basically stating, yeah, they're humans, but they're less than human to us. Like, they're lesser human beings, if you will, because of X, Y, and Z. I guess this would also mean that your life is incredibly valueless, because I highly doubt that you found any bitches.
I am not wrong in saying that. Now tell me, why did you put this in the bigoted section of your video?
Probably because it's bigoted, I don't fucking know.
Are you stupid? What is this autistic ass shit you're doing right now? Am I responding to a science experiment? Can he even hear me? Yeah, man, I'm pretty sure all the skill points that they put into research went to sucking the matrix juice out of me digitally.
He really is just trying to hit every single mark of just being a fucking loser. He just straight up unironically used the fucking term the Matrix. I don't think he's ready to hear that the Matrix was literally created by two trans women to describe the trans experience, but, you know, I don't think a whole lot of my audience is quite prepared for that conversation quite yet.
And like the last screenshot I showed on screen, This one is also shit talk too, but I was mainly talking shit about idiots who kept calling me homophobic and transphobic without knowing what the words mean, and getting mad at me because I said slurs or whatever the fuck.
I feel like the screenshot that you just showed up on screen is just kind of really stupid. Let's read this. No, because so many of them are gay boys and transiges and lesbos? So wait, you're basically stereotyping anybody that's against you as people who are parts of groups that you don't like. Again, that is inherently bigoted, but I also I'm sorry, I'm getting hung up on that second word. Transiges? The fuck does that even mean? Is that even a word? Hang on, I'm gonna have to do some more Googling here. Oh wow, it pulls the fucking Google Translate! Like, I'm sorry, but is he, like, trying to invent, like, a new slur for trans people or something like that by using this? Like, bro, at this point, just use the fucking T slur, my guy. Like, oh my god.
Even though people don't really care like that, so I don't understand what's their problem. Even when I didn't say any slurs in the screenshot, this idiot still finds a way to get mad and pissy. So they don't even matter to you like that. It wouldn't have mattered if I didn't say it or if I did. You're still going to find a problem. Not that I cared about your school presentation project on why words offend people. And again, this is another screenshot of me talking shit.
Let's quickly see this particular screenshot and let's read it out since apparently he's too much of a pussy to read it out himself. Lamau, I stopped caring about that accusation. Any transige or gay boy can hockey puck they faggot ass to that banhammer and out of my server. On top of that, I'm turning off friend requests to avoid randoms talking to me about gay politics. And that's why I don't care about LGBTQ people or whatever the fuck. Again, how is this not fucking bigoted? Again, how is this not incredibly discriminatory? Like, you're basically stating, yeah, trans people and gay people, get the fuck out of my server. Or get banned. I'm sorry, but like, I can't wait to see your fucking defense of this. I can't wait to see what kind of, like, you know, brilliant context you could possibly give to this that could possibly excuse you literally stating that people of certain groups should not be able to, like, you know, be in your server.
I don't understand why me talking shit about a pet peeve of mine even matters. I'm not willing to keep some whiny, bum-ass in my server who only cries about pronouns and makes their gender political issues everybody's problem.
You didn't even bother to try and defend yourself. You literally just said, oh yeah, it was because of one guy. That does not make you look any better, you dumb bitch.
Now that I added additional context to the screenshots that they showed on screen, hoping that people are just daring to take the least uncharitable interpretation of me, I'm sighing because I know a lot of people aren't really going to pay attention to why I believe the things that I believe, and still call me bigoted regardless of what I say anyways.
Okay, fine. We will hear you out on whatever it is that you're about to say right here. It better be good. It better be fucking good. Because if it ultimately just comes down to you just being incredibly fucking ignorant and unwilling to listen to anybody else, then I am going to fucking lose my mind.
Alright, so to poke at the reason why people call me transphobic, it's literally just because I don't believe in trans ideals. Like, at all.
You're already starting off on a very, very terrible foot already. This is already starting off very fucking terribly. Again, this better be a good fucking explanation, buddy. You better have Saul Goodman on fucking speed dial in order to explain yourself.
I don't validate this concept or believe it to be real, and here's where I explain that. My reasoning for not believing in trans ideals is specifically because of the definition itself. It explicitly states that people who behave or express themselves outside of their biological sex, that would mean that they are transgender.
But let's quickly take a look at the definition here, since, as per usual, I'm already noticing that he's cherry-picking some stuff right here. Transgender is an umbrella term for persons whose gender identity, gender expression, or behavior does not conform to that typically associated with the sex to which they were assigned at birth. Now, of course, that is only one definition that I was able to find. By looking up transgender myself, one of the first definitions that ended up coming up here, other than this stupid-ass AI overview, is, of course, denoting or relating to a person whose gender identity does not correspond with the sex registered for them at birth. Now, of course, it's relatively the same thing, except it's a little bit more narrow in terms of, just showing off that it's mainly in the form of identity. Now, of course, he's going to completely ignore the identity part and hyper-focus on the behavioral stuff in order to make, I'm assuming, the kind of argument that I am expecting him to make. If it is the kind of argument that I am expecting him to make, then holy shit, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
First of all, this is false, and a very close-minded statement to have. Just because a guy has feminine aspects about himself does not mean that it's a gender issue and that he should change his gender because of his feminine aspects. That's just stupid. It's the same and vice versa. If you are a girl and you have masculine aspects about yourself, bro, it's not a gender-related issue. For people who...
It is the argument that I expected him to make. The fucking femboy and tomboy argument, because of course these idiots only have like 3 fucking arguments on standby, and all of them are equally stupid. For fuck's sake. Again, it's about mainly identity, which is of course why the actual first definition that shows up whenever I look this shit up is of course mainly referring to identity, or identifies with. You dumb fucking cretin. You utter fucking buffoon. I'm sorry, but like, this is like... We are barely in this man's fucking attempt at explaining why he doesn't supposedly agree with transgenderism, as he so eloquently puts it, like every other fucking moron. Why do I always have to end up dealing with idiots like this? It always circles right back to these people.
Who keep calling me a transphobic bigot? Why does the definition of a transgender and the whole concept of transness in general completely excludes the fact that there are guys with feminine aspects about them and females with masculine aspects about them?
So wait, you're mad that the definition excludes those kinds of people? What the fuck? Okay, so what exactly is your argument? On one hand, you're mad that it supposedly includes those kinds of people when, well, let's be honest here, it kind of really shouldn't, at least in my opinion, but then you're getting mad that it doesn't. I'm sorry, but can you please remain consistent in your fucking arguments, you dumb idiot? Like, can you please remain consistent in your fucking arguments, you dumbass? I'm sorry, I understand that you probably grew up, underneath copper power lines and probably have several different types of lead poisoning going through your system. This is like a new level of dumbassery I didn't even think was possible.
In their definition. And even then, in that same screenshot, before you even read any of the parts that are highlighted, they imply that transgender is an umbrella term, which is fucking stupid.
No, it is not, and I'm going to explain it to you right here, even though I know you aren't going to listen, and if you do respond to this video, you're just going to cut this out because it devalues your entire fucking point here. You see, the term of an umbrella term is basically, it encompasses multiple things that overall just kind of mean the same exact kind of deal. So basically, like for example, my own gender identity, which is of course demi-boy, which basically just means I'm fine with being a guy, but I don't fully align with it. That's kind of long and short of it. I know it's a little bit more complex than that, but please shut the fuck up, I know what I'm talking about. Basically, technically, I myself am trans, because I don't really fully align with the kind of gender that I was given at birth. Same thing with a non-binary person, and same thing with your bog-standard trans person. Every single person that doesn't entirely identify with the gender that was assigned to them at birth, and they are willingly able to admit that, and they fully express that in some way, shape, or form, whether that be socially, or surgically, or however the fuck they decide to do it, then of course that means, guess what? They are in fact trans. Now of course there are in fact people like drag queens, tomboys, femboys, and shit like that also exist that don't actually fall under the trans umbrella because, well, they fully align themselves with being a guy, they just prefer expressing themselves in a more feminine manner because, well, they just feel comfortable doing that, but they of course fully and willingly side with the fact that they are in fact 100% a man. And of course, same thing with tomboys. They prefer being a bit, more boyish, if you will, dare I say. And, they fully align with themselves being, of course, girls at the end of the day. Now, of course, that's why they aren't included under the umbrella term of trans, because they aren't trans. I can't believe I had to explain that shit to somebody like this, but considering that this is the same exact man who has quite literally, that has so far minced definitions not once, not twice, but now 3 times, something 3 strikes and you're out.
So a gay boy who puts on makeup and makes himself look pretty for whatever reason, his biological gender is automatically dismissed because of his characteristics, bro?
No.
so that automatically just makes him a woman, just magically. So we're just playing these stupid ass gay games now, and then on top of that, they don't even make a biological argument for why transgenderism is valid. Men and women are biologically programmed different all the way down to their chromosomes, and no shocker, that's an objective fact. I'm not wrong in saying this. We are even obviously different in the reproductive system compartment. This isn't some fucking open debate. This is an objective fact.
Okay, well, shitty editing and shitty use of white text on a fucking nearly white background aside, everybody please, let me just show it on screen here so that way people can laugh at the fact that this man just straight up doesn't know how to fucking edit worth a damn and doesn't know what color contrast is. Okay, your laugh session is over. Let's actually get into class here. All right, class is in session. Professor Sanity is now speaking. Allow me to explain to you why there's no, quote, biological explanation for being trans. It's because it's not fucking biological, you fucking moron. Yes, we get it. There's, you know, there's scientific aspects and whatnot. Now, of course, you know, bringing in chromosomes into the argument, of course, just kind of, you know, already shows to me that you probably don't even regard intersex people as people that actually exist. So, of course, we're just going to move past that and quickly get into the fact that there's a difference between, well, biology and, of course, the social aspect. Transgender stuff mainly falls under the social aspect because gender, in and of itself, is a social construct. There is a difference between sex and gender. Sex is, of course, you know, the stuff that's denoted by, you know, chromosomes or whatever the fuck else. It's the scientific aspect and whatnot, and it's not something that trans people try to deny whatsoever. In fact, they probably know this and they don't give a shit, okay? However, gender is, of course, a completely different thing because it's a social construct that was completely invented by us silly humans. All of us invented the concept of gender. The idea of man and woman are, of course, things that we created ourselves. Hell, there are certain cultures that did exist back in ye olden days as well as exist nowadays that even recognize third, fourth, and even fifth genders. If I can even find some of those, I'll flash them on screen so that way this man doesn't have an excuse to state that I didn't show any evidence. Now, of course, he will, of course, just completely disregard these because, of course, he'll probably use some sort of silly explanation. I wouldn't be surprised, or he'll probably skip over this because, let's be honest here, he already comes across as that disingenuous that he would cut out context. But I feel like I should just mention that, again, gender is social, sex is something else entirely. Gender is something that you can change at will because it's something that was invented by us and we can do whatever the fuck we want with it. So, yeah, there's your explanation as to why there's no biological defense for being trans. It's because it's not biological. It's entirely social. Moving on.
Definition of a transgender ignores these key differences and also ignores the diverse and nuanced personalities of certain people. This is a stupid gay game, bro.
I feel like I could probably turn this into a drinking game. Every single time he just excuses something or just kind of like passes something off as like it's some sort of stupid quote gay game or something along those lines, people should just take a shot. Your liver will not survive.
Have time for stuff like these. If you're one of those idiots who call me transphobic, this is the reason why I don't believe in trans ideology. This section is for you.
So basically, a reason for not believing in trans ideology is entirely because you completely misunderstand definition, either completely willingly or unconsciously, and ultimately you make yourself look fucking stupid at every single goddamn turn because you want to try and get some sort of easy own when in reality you just show off just how little you actually know about what it is that you're trying to bitch about. By the way, thank you for sticking around towards the end of this video. Now, of course, you probably remember from the beginning of this video that I said that I had a few little interesting screenshots I showed off on a live stream that were given to me by none other than Hannibal Nectar. Well, here they are. In case you needed more information that this man is, of course, just nothing more than a discriminatory bigot, he, of course, isn't even fucking willing to call his own partner by his own preferred pronoun. He, of course, actually has a boyfriend, but of course, his boyfriend is a trans guy, meaning that he is, well, going out of his way and basically calling said boyfriend actually his girlfriend because the fact that, well, he's a fucking loser, and of course, he doesn't actually see these people as, well, actual people, and more or less as, I guess, just people to argue with or something along those lines. Of course, you know, here's a couple of the screenshots here and there of, you know, some actual proof of some of this shit right here, as well as, you know, some more corroboration between, you know, the boyfriend here, as well as, you know, Hannibal Nectar. And of course, a little bit more additional context here showcasing that apparently he used to have a video on Mushroom Girl where he primarily focused on Mushroom Girl's pronouns and gender identity more so than the actual allegations that Mushroom Girl was under, which was being being a weird fucking pro shipper. Goes to show you where this guy's fucking priorities are. But anyways... But I think that's probably where we're gonna end it off here, because overall I'm just mentally fucking exhausted after having to watch this goddamn video. I've had to watch it like 3 different times as of trying to record this particular script in order to try and make sure I get the entire pacing and everything else correctly. So call me a trooper if you want, but in reality I'm more or less just mentally fucking deranged for even bothering to try and talk about something like this early into the year. And especially after I made probably one of the most fun videos that I've ever made. Speaking of which, go ahead and watch The Lost Art of Weird Video Game Heads as a nice little palate cleanser after having seen this garbage. But anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like. This is very well appreciated. Leave a comment down below what you thought about the video, what you want me to talk about next, and also subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want to see more content such as this. Also, go ahead and follow me on Blue Sky, join the Discord server, and I think I still have channel members. If I do, I'll put them on screen. But yeah, anyways, guys, this has been Sandy, and have yourselves a nice day.